think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Welcome to week 11 of Amongst Wildflowers. This week's focus is on loving touch. In the book How to Train a Wild Elephant, it's brought up that you should treat everything, inanimate objects, your friendships, your family, inanimate objects, as though you are a loving parent and they are your child that you are trying to raise, trying to bring up, as though you are loving and caring and cognizant of their needs. It's an interesting to think about because you look at relationships especially, that's one of the big parts of this, is that you think you are loving, you think you have the time, and you give the necessary care and respect and value to relationships, whether it's friendships, romantic relationships, or familial relationships. What you start to notice throughout the week of practicing this is that you look at how you were when the relationship started, how much you gave to that, how much time, how much you responded and texted back or put in an effort to see them, and that as time goes on you start to limit that. You start to almost neglect it. They become almost an object in the room. You don't say hello, you don't say goodbye when they enter and leave. Or if there's a fight or something with a coworker, they'll say hello and you just disregard them and they become just a fixture in that room. And the same thing happens with inanimate objects. You think of all the things that you saved your money up for, a new car, new shoes, a house, whatever it may be. And for a year, a month or so, you give it all the respect in the world. But then time goes by and it just becomes another thing that's in your life, just another thing that's just there, just an object. And the love kind of leaves and there's not really any care given to it. There's tidying up and reaching out and sometimes meeting up with somebody, or sometimes cleaning out the car instead of just throwing stuff, but the loving touch is gone. And that's what this week really wants to focus on, is instead of just chucking that luggage or just throwing that pen or chewing on that pen, really taking the time to just appreciate the fact that you have that in your life. You have that tool, you have that person in your life, reaching out, letting them know. And this is one that is kind of tricky for me. As much as I love people and I love my friends and stuff, I do have a habit of detaching, especially when things seem to get heavy or hard. It's something that I'm not necessarily proud of, the fact that I've been this way, that it's a negative feedback loop for myself, is that I return back into myself and I leave people in a sense, and I don't want to put that on them. So I feel like the best thing to do is to just leave, detach, avoid. And what this week has really proven to me is that that's not the way to go. In times when I feel detached, really be mindful of that detachment, and instead of put all that energy into reaching out to that person, respecting that object. And that becomes one of the interesting things as this week progressed, is that you begin to start looking at yourself, your friendships, your inanimate objects with a new light, with a new respect, with a new viewpoint, as though that they have their own feelings, that they're in the same boat as you, and you start to see it in a new light, and you become more self-aware of it. I encourage you to give it a try. Think of something that you spent your hard-earned money on and saved up for and just have now kind of left at the wayside, whether it's a bike or a car or anything like that. And take the time to appreciate it. Or if there's a friendship that has kind of been strained in some way, reach out to them. Let them know that you're still there and recognize why you became friends in the first place. And same with family. Reach out. Let them know that you're there and that you're working on being more mindful and expressing that loving touch, whether it's through a hug or a text. The loving touch can be really anything that brings a new awareness, and you start seeing things that have personality in them. I'd start looking at your friendships and relationships like that as well, and recognize that there's a lot of love to be had there, and whatever it was that brought you two together to begin with, and the amount of energy you put into it when you first saved up for it, or whether it's a relationship with a person or an object, whatever it was that brought them into your life to begin with, and the time and attention, energy that you spent to that, look into yourself and give that back. Find it. I hope you have a great week.
What a wonderful world.